What's up, everybody? It's Zack McCarley with strengthcrew.com. I'm going to take you through a week in my training cycle and explain a little bit of why I train the way that I do and how I program the cycle. So let's get started. First up, we have some back work. Sundays are my back day. I train it a lot like a bodybuilder. You know, not a whole lot to say about it. Something you can notice in this video is I'm pulling my shoulders back before I actually activate my biceps to pull. That keeps the stress on the lats, not the biceps. Same deal right here. You can see my shoulders coming back, and then I'm starting to pull with my biceps a little bit. So that's something a lot of people neglect. If you can't really figure out what I'm talking about, then just think about elbowing something behind you. Yeah, many people engage pulling exercises with their biceps, and that's not the way you do it. That's how you're going to, never get to where you could be. So I just did a drop set right here. I wasn't really satisfied with the heavier weights. It got a little bit sloppy. Again, right here you can see I'm engaging my shoulders, pulling them back, engaging my lats before I bend the arms. Right here we have bent rows. This is actually a little bit of bad form on my part. I'm still engaging the lats, but I should be pulling my elbows down more towards my waist instead of directly out. So moving on to Monday, we have strict presses. I'm running a 5-3-1 with my strict presses, mainly because 5-3-1 for overhead pressing really works well for me. I plan to, in the next month, consider doing a 5-3-1 with push jerks, but I think I'm just going to work a basic progression. I believe on this day I was doing 205, and I think I did it for 12 or 13. I can't quite remember. This is about 2 weeks ago. This is a rack press or a pin press from the crown of my head. On the bar right now is 242. I like to do sets of 5. I do 5x5 with this accessory movement. I found that it's really helped my strict press quite a bit to just develop that and get the shoulders used to handling, shoulders and tricep used to handling that much more weight. So right here we got a little bit of heavy bag work. I'm just kind of starting to get into boxing a little bit. It's kind of fun. Just something to change it up from the weight room. It's kind of how I got started in strongman too. I got bored in the weight room, so I got a little bit of speed bag going. I'm just kind of learning how to do this still, so it's a little bit sloppy, but that's okay. That's okay. A little bit of bad form on my part. You want to keep both of your hands a little bit higher up than this. I was getting lazy and dropping my other arm while I was hitting. It really burns out your shoulders pretty good. So here, I actually skipped Wednesday. This is Thursday. I'm running a 5-3-1 on my front squats as well for my Wednesday workout. So that is legs and lower back. I had 320 on the bar right here. I think I did it for 8 or 9. Can't quite recall again. You can count the reps if you really want to know. Or just check out my training log at strengthcrew.com/forums. That'd be even easier. You can keep up with my training. So I'm pretty gassed here. My form breaks down a little bit. Upper back rounded. You can't see it, but you can definitely tell that I bowed down a little bit. So I talk a lot about thoracic extensions because I really enjoy them. And this is actually a thoracic extension. So notice how my hips are fixed in place. I'm not actually bowing at the waist. This is done in a Roman chair, so I'm not actually activating the hamstrings or glutes that much. I'm actually working on the lumbars. So the only bending going on is in my low back and my thoracic. More thoracic, I guess you'd say, so mid-lower back. But this is not a hamstring movement. Right here I think I had 35 pounds and it got a little bit too nasty, so I dropped 10 pounds off right there for the last rep. This is something else I enjoy doing with my, to augment my front squats, is overloading. It's a very similar principle to the overhead work that I was doing, but it's just front squats, front half squats. I think I had 405 on the bar there. Right here is my Thursday workout. I'm just doing a little bit of bench. I literally get in the weight room, do like 5 sets of bench, and then leave because Honestly, I don't need it, and I'm thinking about writing this out of this training program. This is a 531 as well. Yeah, bench really doesn't carry over too much to strongman, but I was planning, or I am planning, on doing the WCO powerlifting contest come this November, so I want to be a little bit trained for it. So here we are on event training day. This is actually about 165 pounds on that dumbbell, doing dumbbell overhead press, and it is about 12 degrees in there. It's 12 degrees Fahrenheit, I should say. Very, very cold, like kind of hurt to breathe, but you know, you got to get your training in. It doesn't really matter, so you do what you got to do. I believe this was actually a PR set. I had 165 for 10 in just barely over a minute. It was like a minute and 2 seconds or something.
Keep it going. Come on. Use the legs. Use the legs.
Not quite ideal conditions. And honestly, I haven't done a dumbbell press in quite a while, so really wasn't that bad.
Good. Keep it going.
So here's some more dumbbell work. I actually worked a slightly different technique. If you noticed before, I was stacking the weight on top of my shoulder. Now I'm allowing it to rest as if it were a longer dumbbell, but with a lighter weight. So I'm training two different styles. This is about 115 pounds. I did it for a set of 20, a little bit of endurance work. To load my shoulder up with the heavier weight like this, though, would be kind of dangerous for my rotator cuff, considering that the setup that I have right here really likes to roll around. Those are, you know, that's a loadable dumbbell, so those 25s love to roll off your shoulder. I love to introduce some high volume training. It makes you really really appreciate the sets you don't have to do 20 reps for. So that's really nice.
There you go.
And there's 20. We got some sandbag here, some suck bag carries.
There you go, Zach. Come on.
If you follow much of my training at all, you know the suck bag.
Come on.
Furthest I've carried this was,
There you go. Come on.
I want to say 260 or 290 feet. I don't know. It's a 360 pound sandbag that just crushes the will to live out of you. Right there I was running 50 or 60 feet down, and then I was carrying it back slightly uphill on the way back. And I haven't carried it in quite a while. And like I said, it was quite cold out. So I'm not really disappointed about this. I look forward to adding some distance onto that in the upcoming weeks into the Arnold, but that's not bad. Right here we have a terrible farmer's carry. This is only about 260 on some fat handles, about 2-inch handles. Usually I feel like I could go about 300 feet with these without dropping them, but I dropped it about 60 feet right there. It's my right hand's been giving me a little bit of trouble lately, so I'll be headed into Dr. B to get that fixed up, but it is what it is. You got to keep training. Doesn't matter if you're hurting, doesn't matter what, you just keep going. So what you saw before was actually event training day A, or event training day 1. This is event training day 2. I go on 2-week rotations. Right here is a little bit of yoke action. I believe it's 800, somewhere between 800 and 825 on the yoke right there. And then I'm running back for some sled action with Mr. Mike Cromer hopping on the sled once we got to the carpet. I think this sled was ballpark 600 or 700 pounds, I don't know. A little piece of advice for everybody: before you do a heavy sled drag or a heavy yoke, always lace up your shoes pretty tight, because one of my shoes was pretty loose right here and it felt like I was about to blow it out. So that's never a good sign, but this is a great combination. Just tear up your quads. Right here we got some axle clean and press afterward. I believe I had 263 on the bar right here, just kind of getting my tempo down a little bit. Right here, well, you actually see me follow the bar down with my hands all the way to the ground. That is a bad thing to do because the bar can jump back up and jam your wrist really bad. I've seen it happen, and actually while we were there, somebody got their head popped pretty good by a stone, came down on a tire, and the air pressure bounced, because there's a rubber mat on top of the tire, it actually bounced back up and hit the guy in the face with a 300-pound stone, so that was no good. I hit a quick triple for kind of tempo right here with 303 or 305. Here's a quick little clip from my birthday medley, which was the same day. Decided to finish up with 13 rounds of bodyweight stone over the bar to, I believe that was an 800-pound tire. Just running back and forth 13 times. It's pretty nasty. If you want to see the whole video, I'll link it in the top right-hand corner right here. And we got a little bit of swimming action. I recently swam my very first mile without stopping at all. It was directly before I took this video. Obviously, I wasn't going to videotape the whole thing. That would just be pretty boring. But I've been using swimming to keep my shoulders loose after shoulder days, and maybe after a little bit of benching I'll go swimming, just to keep a fair amount of blood flow going through and flushing out lactic acid and things like that. And I usually take it pretty easy on swimming, but this day I decided to really get after it, so I did 35 non-stop laps, crawl stroke down, breaststroke back. Yeah, and that was a life goal. That was really big for me, so I'm really happy with that. And I'm going to finish up with some prowler pushes. Right here you can see Brandon, Mike Cromer, and myself all doing prowler. Prowler is really good for truck pushes and truck pulls and sled pulls, anything really involving exhausting your quads and testing your willpower, testing your conditioning a little bit. I really think it's more of a willpower kind of thing than conditioning. But I do like to incorporate a fair amount of volume into my training and a fair amount of, I guess what would be termed lactic acid conditioning. Ridiculously high volume in short periods of time. So if there's anything you didn't understand about the exact way that I structure my training, you can contact me on my YouTube, on my Facebook athlete page, or you can hit up strengthcrew.com/forums and talk to me directly there. I will put a link to my training log in the description box, as well as a really brief overview of exactly how I structured my training. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe to Strength Crew TV and my page, of course.
If you finish up in 30 seconds, I'll do another one. Come on. Good grind, good grind. Let's go. Make those feet move fast. Make them move fast, come on. Get them going. Drop your hips. There. Come on. 20 feet. Let's go. 5 seconds, let's go. Give me 10 steps. 1, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you're done. We'll do another just step. Good job, Zach.